you never realize you are a racist. You're going to be a black racist. Yes. You don't realize.
Or when I see someone blacker than me.
No.
That's racism.
No. You can profile someone who is a white person. Like, you have issues with racism all the time. When you see a white person, you really have that instinct. It comes in and you're like, oh my God, that's a white person. I mean, you see, there are people who don't like white people naturally.
Okay.
Yes, like they don't want to reason with them, they don't want to deal with them. Like, especially where I work with them all the time, every day, in and out. I mean, to me, being an African, it doesn't bother me, okay? So, but for a different person, a black person who was born in America, it's going to be a serious issue with them. They may either choose to be friends or be friends from a distance. Or it's just a lot of demographics in that. It depends on how you relate.
And that's also something interesting you said. I'm not leaving this tribalism point, but that's also something else you said. Like, there's a difference between Americans, black Americans, and African Americans.
Oh yeah. You know, most Africans who go to these countries are skilled, and more especially they are educated. Okay? And the people probably, like the black people over there and the white people over there, most of them, they are not educated. A lot of them.
White people who are not educated.
Yeah. What do you mean? Yes.
Wazungu wajasoma. As in, I wanted you to repeat that for confirmation.
Oh yeah,
just
absolutely.
for the record.
There are people who have never touched a school. They have never gone to school. They don't even know how a school
at all.
Like. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yes. So where the problems comes is on how you guys relate, maybe at work and all that. So most especially the reason as to why the Africans, for instance, they don't normally get issues with the white people is because they kind of get along. You know, the white class, whatever, the elite class, and when the black Africans who normally come from this country, they kind of have the same educational setup. They're able to know a lot of things all together. Okay. Unlike the black people community who are there, I don't speak for them, but I can say this loudly. There is someone maybe who lives in Chicago and has never left Chicago. And there is someone who left here today, who goes there, you've gone like 4, 5, 6 states. You see, so there's a whole difference. So they kind of, even the way Africans work, they are very devoted, they are very determined on what they do. And these other people, so sad to say it, but they're still fighting with that whatever atrocity that would have happened, or there's a white person. Because it's natural. If you're not them, you never feel them. But them, they know what exactly it went and how it affected them. So, but you can easily say something, at the end of the day, you might affect them. So you have to be very careful with that.
Tell me how deep this goes. You have blended in with the American culture, totally. Do you have people who can tell a black person who's been raised in America and a black person who's blending in just by looking at them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even the way you dress.
Oh, you guys don't sag.
Yeah, you see, for instance, like us coming from Kenya, right? We have the British Foundation, which is kind of upright standing. Like you wear a suit, maybe someone else dresses and neatly go to work, you know what you need to wear. Yeah. Like how did this instance, like someone, this was just so funny, about like 10 years ago. So this individual had come from Kenya with a green card, right? And then it was just so funny actually. So he got a job at a medical assembly, and then he shows up with a suit. They were like, okay, so we have someone buying the company today. You know how people make fun of it. It's a medical assembly, it's supposed to come with a safety gear.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So the first thing that they did is to send him back home to go and undress. Yes, come with safety boots, because he didn't read the instructions when you're being offered a job. Safety boots, safety jacket. You see what I mean? Gloves. Don't come with a suit. First of all, a tie is a safety hazard.
Wow. Yani kizungu ni challenging. You say, when you say they sent him back to go and undress, I was like...
I didn't say that. I said dress down.
Oh, dress down.
Yes.
As in, I think it's in just a slip of the tongue. I was like, you show up to your wife, Mudosi amesema nitoe nguo. Unajua that's different. So the cultures are that different.
Oh yeah, because you see the way we pose ourselves, we know we have that upright standing. You know, them culture, the way they dress, you said, like sagging, having pants, having tattoos of their body, communicates differently. It's a language that they're communicating. Okay.
Okay.
Like those people throw their drawers, their pants down. There's another. It's kind of is a funny lingo of trying to communicate, right?
Okay.
Like from jail, like, hey, I'm ready for you. So like, it's homosexual kind of things like that.
Ah.
Yeah. So
for how dressing is one of the ways to identify or to tell people apart, someone
Yep.
who's grown in America or blending into the culture, or someone who's an indigenous Black American. What does that say? Like, if you, let's say you have a child in America, right? Is it almost a guarantee that they will adopt your way of life as an African, or it's easy for them to blend in? Like, I want to know if wearing a suit is genetic.
now, actually, it depends demographically, as I told you that. And again, right now, we're only going through the system of psychographic.
Yeah.
Even in the business and marketing, the same thing, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
The psychographic marketing and demographic marketing.
Yes.
Then, like, demographic is like age, location, geographical setup, where you are, environment, and all that.
Yes.
And then we come to psychographic, is like attitude, how you feel, lifestyle, and whatever, these kind of things. So here, if you raise your child in Runda, what do you think that person is going to pick up? Which character, for instance?
Runda.
Yes.
Runda vibes. Cool.
If you raise your child in Umoja or Kibera, no offense, but what do you expect that child to pick up?
Okay.
Most likely, I'm only talking about most likely.
Yes.
Because there are people who get raised up in those communities, but they come up strong. They pick up different ways of
Yes,
lifestyle.
yes, yes.
So now this depends on where you raise up your child and what kind of a person that you are. Because raising a child is your individual responsibility.
True.
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned something also very deep about people who are stuck in a country like the US. They can't leave, they want to come back home, but they can't. But before we talk about that, how does it come? Ama, it's the tribalism card, whereby you find that a certain tribe of Kenyans just live in a certain area, and a certain area, in a certain area. What are the factors that contribute to that? You fly tribalism, we export tribalism to America, or?
I think it's sieving. I call that is sieving, like trying to, like when you're trying to juggle up a lot of things and then you filter what you want to do, right? People, like this is how tribalism works. People want to identify with who they want to be with, which is very obvious, right? Like for instance, if you are Kisii, someone would want to identify with their own people and their own community, what they are alike with, right? They just choose to go to New Jersey or go to Minneapolis, okay? If you are maybe probably a Kikuyu, you'd want to go to Seattle, or you want to go to Los Angeles, or you want to go to Atlanta, Georgia.
Kikuyus are choosing the areas they can't pronounce, like.
Yeah,
that's
so
strategic.
Yeah, I mean it depends on where do you want to go, where your people are. That's why I say like tribalism is just there. It's only that it's just so digital, you don't see it.
Yeah.
But now the only people who are killing it is that the young people. They don't know that. They don't. Once kids are born, they just speak English. Period. That's it. Okay. So the tribe thing just automatically dies. But you, if you are Luo parents or Kikuyu parents, you're in your house, at the end of the day, you're able to identify like, maybe for instance, there's a funeral. Even the people, because we still have that analogy of the way people collect funds and all that, if you go through the WhatsApp groups people put out there, someone wants to identify you as a Kisii first or as a Luo, they put your name first there in the group, right? So when people are collecting the money, what you see? Last names first.
Yes,
and then some of their friends, they're going to do something for you. Okay. I mean, it's something people don't want to accept. It's the truth.
Okay.
But it's just, if I show you, you'll be just surprised. It's something that I've seen over the time. You know, it happens.
And when you mentioned funerals, I think you hit something that I've always wanted to know. Mm-hmm. Like we always hear of people passing on in the US, unfortunate stories, but then they have to come back to be buried in Kenya. Is it because of family? You have most family here, or because the US has very stringent rules in terms of interment of people? I
think it's culture and family.
Okay.
But apparently a lot of people right now, they're being buried in the US. They don't have to ship someone who has already died back here. Yeah, so it's your choice on how you to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So another interesting bit before we get to how the ways to which someone can immigrate legally so that you don't have problems. Mm-hmm. We have people who are stuck outside the country, stuck in a country like the US. They want to come back, but they can't. But you have people who wish they can get a chance to move, say, for example, immigrate to America. What do you have to say to both people, starting with giving us information on why people get stuck, but they can't come back?
Oh, wow. That's a serious question. I don't want to unmask some things, but
please, feel free. Aseme, sindio?
Yes. Here's the thing. You know, for instance, let me just, do you want me to go professional way or unprofessional way?
Zote.
Okay, let's start with the unprofessional way, okay? Yes. There are, for instance, people live in this country with the B1, B2 visas, right? For visit and all that.
B1, B2
visas, okay?
Yes.
And some other visas may be for R1, like for artists and all that. People just choose to leave this country and go out there, right? The process of changing your status to legal permanent residency or citizenship is very tedious. It's very tedious. And at times you don't have, it's not a guarantee that you have to be approved for that. So you end up being yourself in a situation whereby you cannot leave the country. Once you mess up your status, you're pretty much stuck up until you have to correct it.
Messing up your status?
Yes.
What does that entail? Overstaying?
Overstaying your welcome.
Overstaying your welcome?
Yes.
So how is this welcome? They welcome you for how long?
So for instance, when you just come to the US with B1, B2 visas, right? Mm-hmm. Back then they used to issue 2 years visas. Apparently they issue 5 years, okay? You prove to the embassy that you're able to go there and come back and all that, right? And then you get there, maybe, you know, life changes, okay? After you stay a period of time, maybe you find someone, you marry, and your life happens, things change, you know, it's something, it's normal, right?
Yes.
And then you start the process of trying to adjust your status to legal permanent residency, which is a legal process. And then maybe at the end of the day, things happen. You can hook up yourself with the wrong person, maybe someone who's been in drugs, pedophilia. People will definitely fail your process and all that, you know, because you don't have a way to do a background check for anything.
Yes.
At the end of the day, you're going to be denied that change of status for you to be a legal permanent resident in the US. So what happens, trouble starts. So there's what you call a removal process. It begins immediately for you to be ejected out of the country. So you find out people now start hiding. You have to find, yes, you have to hide for you to survive. Maybe you already have children and all that. What's going to happen if you leave the country? You're going to leave your children to go to foster homes and all that because you are an illegal immigrant in the country.
But your children are?
The children, they are. So by the time
so they will kick you out and leave your children?
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of people have been kicked out.
You can't live with your children?
The Americans, they can't leave. They can leave if they want to and come back, but you can't. Because you're already in violation.
So you to America kuza, as in? Hold on. They kick you out, your children are Americans?
Oh yeah, of course. Absolutely. That happens a lot to a lot of people. I know a lot of people have been kicked out because the process is rigorous actually, and change of status is serious as well. And apparently, each and every single time, every case, they advance their process on how to know who is doing things correctly and is doing things illegally. You see what I mean? So they really use a lot of technology to identify those kind of things. So they might kind of find you where you're working and maybe to do a lot of Wakenya wenyewe usemana, unajua.
Yes.
Yes. Someone doesn't like you maybe by your last name, you know.
That happens.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's why I told you it happens. It's the truth. People don't choose to say it, you know, but it's the truth.
Okay.
Yeah. So and then setups, things come up, and then at the end of the day, what's going to happen? Maybe you don't have money to process the legal process. Let me tell you something. The moment when you have children in the US, your life changes automatically. It's so serious. You know that, right?
Changes like child support?
No child support. That's a whole different story. I'm only saying like if you are a father today, you have your couple and then you get children, right? Mm-hmm. The way even you work, it changes because you can never hire a nanny. You don't have money to hire a nanny for you. It's very serious. That's a very serious job for someone else to do for you because that means like you're going to work, get the money paid, someone who's taking care of your children. Yeah. Yeah, so it's such serious. So what happens here is when you're not able to do that, you have to, because kids is very important. You have to raise your kids yourself. So the moment you're not able to do that, what happens? Your job is affected. And then maybe, for instance, you don't have your status adjusted for you to be a legal permanent resident. So that means, and then to hire lawyers for you to work for you is a serious thing.
It's expensive.
It's very expensive indeed. And again, when you don't get the money, what happens? Your process kind of gets stuck.
Yeah.
What happens? The removal process is coming up.
Tell me if this strategy would work. Mm-hmm. The opposite of deport is import, right? Mm-hmm. So assuming before your visa expires, you have children, mm-hmm. you leave the country so that you are sued for child support so that Americans can come get you.
I'm not a legal practitioner. I will never say anything like that. I don't know. Honestly, I don't think I will say anything about it. But I don't think someone is going to come for you for that. But they will wait for you till you make it back.
From what? Oh.
From wherever place that you've gone.
They will not import you.
Because Kenya, I don't think is one of those countries which have identified the Americans that they can just come for you for child support. But maybe in Europe, if you go to Switzerland, let's say any Europe countries and all that, Australia, those kind of countries, they already have an agreement with their child support services that even if you go wherever those countries, you'll have to pay your child support irrespective of anything.
Okay.
Yes.
Sawa sawa. So now my question becomes, Sawa, how difficult is it to survive in hiding, and for the people who hide after their status has been messed up? How long do they have? Do they have a chance of correcting papers after things are messed up, or you have to hide till you die?
You know, I mean, honestly speaking, I really don't think if when your status is mixed up or is messed up, there's a way that you can correct it. But people do correct it. If you have a strong lawyer, it's going to work on your case, but it's going to cost you a lot of money, internal money. But where are you going to work for you to make that money to pay a lawyer to just adjust your status?
Okay. Interesting. Now, for the people who are, let me not say dying to leave the country, people who are working so hard to leave the country to immigrate to a country like the US, what you do have to say for them? How do they play it safe? How do they ensure that they will do it the right way and they will not find themselves in trouble?
Yeah. Before that, you had asked me a question on people want to come back professionally, right?
Yes.
The people have already acquired skills, depending on whatever field that they are in. They've already acquired serious skills.
Yes.
In let's say in these countries out there, these big 5 countries.
Yes.
They don't want to come back to this country, right? There's no opportunity for them, honestly. There isn't. For instance, it's very true. Already people who are here don't have opportunities.
Okay.
So why are they coming to work? Okay, at the same time, which job skill do you think someone is doing over there is going to do over here? Let's say, for instance, someone is, as I told you, like a truck driver, for instance. Okay, someone now chooses to leave the US to come in this country to drive a truck. How much are you going to pay him?
Let's just do a small census. Mobeck told me that Derewa Lori, US, they earn close to $1 million bob a month, right? Converted to Kenyan shillings.
Yeah.
Almost $1 million bob per month. Wasiwa squad you pay how much? There is your answer. So how do you think, so you'd rather be stuck there because the same job that you do, you cannot get the same amount of money back home. That's the professional reason why people can't come back.
Yeah, and again, you see, let me just put it in 2 ways. One, there's a professional way of working, okay? So for instance, I've told you these are job skills. For instance, someone has acquired out there.
Yes.
Irrespective of what you do, when you live in this country, maybe you have your degree and all that, just forget about those things. If you don't continue to school and earn more extra education, your degree is just used as nothing, okay? Because they don't recognize it actually. It's just a supplementary if you want to start over for another undergrad, whatever, bachelor, you want to pursue some education, further education. But here's the thing. If, for instance, someone is a nurse practitioner.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
A nurse practitioner makes a lot of money. Let's say, for instance, like $50 an hour. Just being, I don't know how much. Yes.
That's almost like.
For instance, I'm only just saying, I'm only giving a rough scale.
Okay.
That's maybe probably the minimum, right? How much is a nurse practitioner paid in this country?
That's per year in Kenya.
That's per year. So, just give me a reason as to why how someone is going to leave that country to come here. How possible it is? It's not possible.
Okay.
So those countries just like give people already a blackout. You see, once you live here, you go there, start working, making your money. But coming back now is just like maybe death or something else. Because now Africa becomes like a graveyard. Even the people who work here, exactly. Even the people who work here and make a lot of money, where do they spend their own money?
Offshore accounts.
Offshore accounts. They just put their money out there,
abroad.
investing. They want to say go for holidays where? They want to go to Miami, abroad, steal money from here, go dump it out there. That's the truth, you know it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing like people say Switzerland is one of the best countries in terms of whatever.
Yes,
I call it, no, it's not. Because what they do, they sunk in money that the people have stolen from other countries. So how do you rank it?
Interesting. So now the Diaspora Youth Caucus is not only stationed in America. You have a network that spans in different countries, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
One of our audience members, Wangari, anasema ati Canada seems like it's highly ranked in terms of the best place to immigrate to. That's according to her or from the feedback she has received or the information she's been exposed to. In your experience, what's the best country to immigrate to?
Professionally or?
Hiding, tumeona, is a no-go zone.
Yeah, I mean, to answer to your question first, the legal way of going to the United States or this Canada or these countries, for instance, just get your visa, go there, do what you're able to do for 5 years, whatever, like 6 months, whatever the term that they've given you that you're supposed to be in that country, and come back. Do not mess up your status. Or if you don't have a job skill or anything else, just apply for a job. You'll get a visa, H1 visa. They issue those visas. But the thing here is people don't even tell these people the truth. Okay, you find agents here, they just want to find a way to get you out of the country, but when you go out there, you go suffer.
Okay.
Those countries are very expensive, honestly. And again, the way even you can make it through the embassy is tedious. Okay. So the only way is just to choose the legal way to go out there, because these countries have already offered these opportunities, but you have to follow. Is it
possible to apply for a job in America when you're in Kenya?
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of people have applied jobs and they've gotten their jobs in the US. A lot. People get jobs. Possible. Yes, it's possible. And even the companies which are hiring you, they even do the process for you. But again, what is your job skill? What is your professionalism? You have to be a professional for them to give you that job. Like I heard a question that you said about like unskilled labor. I don't think they will hire. They already have unskilled labor. Yeah. So I don't think they will hire. There's no countries going to hire unskilled labor.
Will that? Do you think? Of course, we have the conversations on structured labor export.
Correct.
On the policy level, but on an individual level, can someone go to school or pick a course with another country in mind? Individual initiative. Like look for opportunities in the US, in Canada, study for something, right? And then apply for a job from here. Is that a process you would advise? Would it help in curbing unemployment?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, we have a lot of online jobs, for instance, like cybersecurity. We have like tracking, dispatching. A lot of Kenyans are doing, like right now in America, Kenyans are dispatching tracking in America. Something people don't know. The thing here is, how do you get that source of information for you to go through the course and do it? Yeah, because the pay will be the same as someone who's in the US. The same thing. Yes.
How do you get that information?
How do you get that information? That's the information that is being shared with a lot of people. And that's why I say our Department of Ministry of Foreign Affairs should just come in handy and just issue this kind of information. Maybe we have people who don't want to do their jobs and give this kind of information because it's out there. So the Diaspora Youth Caucus can only give what you are able to find because of resources at times. You know, we can only share the little that we have for people to do that. And especially like in IT, you know, a lot of job skills in communications. Like for instance, I'm wondering, how can India be a telecommunications company with the accent that they have when we already have people who are already in the market to speak English?
Okay.
Or
language is key.
Yeah, language is key. The biggest tool that we have right now is language, communication, that you can communicate. Okay. Why is it right now dispatching in the United States by Kenyans who are here? It's so easy. It's because they speak English. Not even English, but good English.
Now I get it. English. Najua mavijana huku nje wanashindana nani ako na Kiswahili mambo yote, so
yeah, but if you have to you want your life to be limited, just Swahili. I speak Swahili myself very well, but now the only tool which is being traded right now in the whole world, what is it? It's just English.
Language.
It's just language.
Wow. So language can also, and most people don't actually view language as a skill.
It's a very important skill, and again, as I told you, demographics and psychographics.
Yes.
Where you're applying what you have.
Ah, okay.
Okay, you want to get a job East African, right? What are you using, for instance? It's Swahili, right? How good are you in Swahili, for instance? You're able to market. You go to Tanzania, you need to speak very well and just do marketing and do whatever that you're able to do. Mtukwambia leo twende tufanye biashara na gani? Yeah, leo tukuna sales and marketing. How do you say that in Swahili?
You've answered a question that was coming through from me, to me from the years. First of all, this show has been directed by two directors, Jackso and acha nimwite our newbie director. Anaitwa EVE. Wapi makofi ya EVE? Anafanya job poa sana. EVE was wondering, huyu vile anakaa anajua Kiswahili kweli?
Mimi?
Alafu kaingia TZ immediately. So
I can even do a show in Swahili because Swahili is a potential language. Yes.
So US where people go and forget Kiswahili, those are niggas in denial.
No. No, actually, you know there are people who don't have the capability of maintaining 2 languages.
Ah.
Yes, there is someone who will go there, maybe his or her first language was maybe, for instance, Luo, right? But Luo don't forget their language wherever they go in the whole world.
But Luo is English.
Yeah, yeah, you say that. I'm only just saying there are people, and Kikuyu at the same time, they don't forget their language. There are people who just choose to forget their language just like that. And there are people, it's just by choice, where the people they interact with, you see like 98% of your day, who you work with, you speak English, okay? What is going to happen at the end of the day? You lose your first language. There are people who cannot hold 2, 3 languages.
Okay.
You see, personally, is as I told you, is intentional.
Okay.
Yeah, I intend to learn my languages and I just keep them. I will speak Swahili whenever.
Ah, okay.
Yes.
Point of correction. We agree that Luo is English. Kikuyu, you can forget the language, but you cannot forget the accent.
Yeah.
That stays with you forever.
Yeah. This is something that you said, like you can just see someone before even they open their mouth and say, like, you know, already, I already know you, Dr.
I'm Karacha, nigga.
Yes. Yeah.
So I believe most of our people, if there's one of the most beautiful things you've said, and I hope you guys go out, na mchangamke, you can apply for a job outside the country and work while you're in the country, and those opportunities are there, which is actually a better deal, because if you get paid in a similar rate with what people are getting paid outside the country,
that's correct,
you have a better deal, because life is more expensive out there.
That's correct.
So the ultimate solution is not necessarily to move out of the country.
Yeah.
Explore the opportunities you can get around.
That's correct.
Another powerful thing you've said, language is a skill.
It's a skill. But again, why are people stuck going to the United States only?
Good question.
Why?
There are other countries that also have opportunities.
They pay even better. They have even better livelihood. They don't even give you this kind of hardships of you trying even to travel. Let's say a country like Norway, country like Poland, Polish countries, or ever European countries, apart from Germany and Switzerland and these other countries like France and where, I mean, these are the countries like Denmark, all these countries, they have a lot of opportunities that they offer. Okay. But the thing is, and I had this question that you just raised up a while ago concerning like, why do people charge a lot of money? The agents charge a lot of money for people to process.
Yes.
You know, for instance, an agent is, that's a business that they're doing, okay?
Yes.
A business is a willing seller, a willing buyer. So you can never fault them for that. If someone tells you, I'm going to charge you 200,000 Kenyan shillings for me to make this possible for you, it's you to do it. But if someone is going to tell you that they're going to look for you a visa in the United States, just tell them it's a lie, because number one thing, the US will never give you shortcuts for visas. Just know it, that if you cannot meet the threshold, they won't issue a visa, period.
If you can't meet the threshold?
That's it. Just forget about it.
Okay. I love quoting movies a lot on this show. So I'd like you to give us a glimpse into the levels of citizenship. When we see a movie and there's an American somewhere, the government goes through leaps and bounds. Like the government will do anything. Like let's say, for example, if our Wicked Edition crew and you were stuck in a lift, tell us how true this is. Like that lift would be opened ASAP. Like let's say stuck in a lift with you versus stuck in a lift minus you, right? Minus you, we can stay up there for 2 months waiting for help. Like, but if we were stuck there with you as an American citizen, the embassy will be there. There is an American in there. There is an American. We need to get the American. Is it? Do they care about their people that much, or that's the impression they would like us to believe? That's
very true. They do. You know, it's a country that appreciates their own citizens, no matter what. That's the truth. And for instance, when you come into the country, I can come in as a Kenyan or I come in as an American.
You have a choice?
Yeah, you have a choice. Yes, because I'm a dual citizen, right? When you check in as an American, the record goes to the U.S. Embassy, right? They already know how many Americans who are in the country.
Allah.
So whenever that happens to you, they have to check and call and make sure everything that happens. If there is an emergency somewhere, they'll have to make sure. It's just like a roll call. How many Americans that we have in the country? Where what is happening? If you call immediately, they already provide for an emergency contact for you to get that information. Unlike us,
yes,
a Kenyan comes to the country.
As a Kenyan now.
Yes, I'm speaking. Yes, I'm speaking as a Kenyan now.
Yes.
Unlike us, when you go out in the country, So maybe right now they're trying to take that seriously, but previously, you can be working as a Kenyan into an American country, and it can happen to you. The embassy doesn't even know what is happening with you.
Really?
Yes.
So does that mean someone like you, ukienda maandamano, unaweza ambia makana, don't touch me, I'm an American?
No. You can't do that. Number one thing here is you have to follow the rules and regulations of that country. If you work in that country, it's your responsibility to make sure you abide by the law. Okay. But if you are charged by anything, any case, you're gonna go through the legal process by the jurisdiction of the country that you are in.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they can send the Navy SEALs to get you from committee, right?
No, they won't. Because here's the thing. It depends on, again, on what diplomatic indifferences that they've already had, which issues that it just put you into whatever problems that you get yourself into, right?
Okay. Circumstances.
Yes.
Sawa sawa. So before we let you go, the best ways for someone to move to America. Of course, you've mentioned visas, the process, follow the rules that you've been given, right? If you could just break down for us the most basic ones, the most basic ways someone can access, someone who's interested in moving out of the country.
Moving out of the country, first of all, is to apply for a job. Number two, apply for green card.
Okay.
The lottery system, that enables you, for instance, when you get into the country, you're able to get accommodation and all that, just enjoy the rights and privileges of any other citizen in the country. And another way that you get into the country is legal, but do not overstay.
Do not overstay.
Yeah, that's the only way.
And the visa vibe they talk about, where they talk about checking your bank account. You're applying for a job. Where are you getting this money? Number one, like let's say for example you don't have a bank balance. Like what is the input of a bank balance or the significance of your bank balance as you move out of the country, or it's just a ploy to block poor people?
Now, here's the thing. This is how they call it. It's what you call strong social and economic ties, that you have to prove to the American embassy that you are able to go to that country and come back. For instance, depending on which visa that you're applying for. If you're applying for a student, you have to prove that you're able to pay for yourself school fees in the country that you're going into. So by that, you have to prove strong financial status for yourself. So, but if you're not able to do that, that means, unless you get a scholarship, that means you can never pay for your school fees. Because we have students who live in this country and go out there, they're not able to pay for their own school fees. Maybe at times they acquired a bank statement from someone or something that happened, and then they're not able to pay for your school fees. What happens? You don't go to school. The second thing what happens is this: they're gonna look for you and remove you out of the country because you are there and you violated your status. Okay. You have to go to school.
If you go there as a student, you have to go to school.
Exactly. If you choose to change your status, that's your own. It's now. Because people would have to change their own life, because people have to grow out of their own comfort zone and change their lives. Okay. Because kama umeenda shule pale ukiwa miaka mingapi? 18, si ndio? Umemaliza shule baada ya 4 years later, right?
Yes.
Miaka 22. And then what happens after that? Lazima ukaoe, una mke wako, wewe na watoto na familia yako ifanye nini? Ianze kuendelea.
Yes.
So the next thing is you have to change your status.
So after that you apply for ukimaliza shule you apply for a marriage visa.
No, the US government does not dictate on what you have to do with your life.
Okay.
And I don't think there's any government that does that. So here's the thing: when you get married, for instance, and you choose to adjust your status, just go through the legal process. They're gonna issue that. Hey, walk in there, and there's we have several application processes at the Department of Homeland Security. They issue that for USCIS. So, and they give you options of changing your status. Indicate what you are doing. Yes. Once you do that, and then they're able to help you change your status.
Do they take honesty for answers?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm done with school. I'd like to adjust my status. What would you like to do in America? I'm in love, as in.
Do you know there are people who perform very well in colleges, in universities? They don't even want to release them to come back. They issue you with change of status.
Oh really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You go to Harvard, for instance, you become out as a very successful lawyer. They don't want to let you out. Become a very serious IT expert. They don't want to let you out. They have these companies who want to come and fish you out of those colleges. Take your FBI and whatever. We have a lot of Kenyans who are working for FBI.
Children. Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as in, depending on how good you are, how you set yourself apart, these opportunities could actually come knocking for you.
Exactly, and so is every other country, they do the same thing. If you have Americans who are going to school here and they're the best in their classes, even in this country, they want to fish them to work for them as well. It's the same thing that applies everywhere.
Then in that case, what's your take on brain drain? Because people talk about other countries siphoning some of the best from Africa. What are we left with?
Let me ask you a very simple question right now.
Please.
The Kenyan government, for instance, this is a challenge to them. Ever since they took over, let me speak of Ruto government, right? It looks like it's doing so much. Let me talk about the brain drain. We have a lot of Kenyans who are out there already studied and they have a lot of skills, right? Just mention to me even one event which has been organized to invite the diaspora to come in this country. These summits, you've heard there's someone who's coming, there is whoever, organizations, UN and all that. But you haven't heard even one. Do we have an organization or is the government willing even to invite Kenyans who are in the diaspora to come even for a summit, even a state house function?
What's the business justification? You just send your money, as in?
That's the same, which they say the Kenyan in the diaspora, they are #1 in remittances,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
How are you giving that? How are you giving them the recognition? Have you ever had even whatever, how do you call it, like a summit for the Kenyans in the diaspora to come in this country, back here? Have you ever had even one? This is almost 1 year going down.
But I think for someone who runs an organization like yours, you're better placed to put together your network and come up with an event like that one as a challenge to what the potential of such an event will be.
Exactly, I take that as a challenge myself.
Okay.
But I'm only giving it to the government as well. They've invited everyone from every corner of this world.
Yes, yes, yes.
They go out there to borrow money from these, whatever, how do you call them, from these countries who have money. Have they ever thought of borrowing money from the Kenyans in the diaspora?
That's the thing. Like Kenyans in the diaspora can fund the government.
Absolutely. If they give 400 billion, let's say the minimum, right? 400 billion into this country, for instance, for remittances. Have you thought about, for them, something being created for them to, like, hey, let's borrow from the Kenyan diaspora?
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And is there a difference in the government borrowing from a structured borrowing from Kenyans in the diaspora versus the money that the Kenyans in the diaspora remit into the country?
You know, we have very bright ideas and bright people in this country who can come up with something which is going to help people or help the government curb that. It's not that what people do is just to speak, only talk. Just talking the talking like every day. Hey, Kenyans in the diaspora, Kenyans in the diaspora. Have they taken an initiative?
Yeah.
Let's say, for instance, the Ministry for Labor, okay, or the Ministry for Foreign Affairs.
Yes.
Just say, hey, today we have, the same way they normally have functions for different countries coming over here. Oh, we're having this and this. They're trying to come and fund this and this. Have we had one official function for the government? Say, hey, Kenyans in the diaspora function.
Wouldn't we go back to the question of how disunited Kenyans are in the diaspora?
You've answered my question all along. We're disunited. There's a disconnect.
Okay.
Wrong choices.
Okay. Sawa sawa. Melan kitu? Wapi makofi ya Mobeck? Asante sana. That has been a comprehensive conversation. Asante sana for making time for us, but we wouldn't let you go without a parting shot. Final word to a Kenya, both in the country and in the diaspora.
Is the thing that challenges me all the time is political. That's what I would say. Like the moment we start being honest to ourselves, we will make better choices for our country. Because that's why you see people go to school, they come out here with degrees, they don't go anywhere because they don't have job opportunities.
Okay.
So the government should get into it and tap from the diaspora. It has the potential, it has the skills, it has everything. Find a way, have diplomatic relations with these countries, you can easily give opportunities for people.
Okay. And Kenyan Youth Diaspora Caucus, is it open for members only in the diaspora, or I can go to Uganda and join?
It doesn't matter where you are. The Diaspora Youth Caucus is just, the identity is the Diaspora Youth Caucus, but even Kenyans are members. We have a lot of Kenyans who are members as well.
What are the benefits of being a member of the organization?
We provide a lot of opportunities, actually. Yeah, maybe job opportunities. People want to travel for visit, go visit their own parents or their own relatives and all that. We do a lot of things all together, job opportunities at the same time.
How can Kenyans who are listening, watching, and even our studio audience members get in touch with Diaspora Youth Caucus to access some of the benefits that you have to offer?
Number one, they have to go through the website, DYC, www.dycservice
www.dycservice.org.
Correct.
Now you have capacity.
Exactly. Just go into there, chat with us. We find our contacts and all that. We share some contacts for the people.
Okay.
We always find them. Or go to our Instagram page, the Diaspora Youth Caucus. Just find an inbox, whatever that you can. And from there you get information. Someone will contact you immediately.
And it's active.
Exactly.
Sawa sawa. Mazia, asante sana, and special thank you to Mwafrika wa Iko Nini podcast for helping us set this up. This is good information, very good vibes. Asante sana once again for making time for us. God bless you and God bless the work that you're doing. Asante sana. That's it for the weekend edition. See you next week. My name is Dr. Kingori.